So Packard has gotten this new information about his brother, and he's told his family about it. And he's the only one that's still living in Minnesota. And his mom's like, "I'm coming to Minnesota immediately." And he's like, "No, don't come here. There's too much going on, and I don't know anything right now." And she's like, "Too bad, I'm coming." Um, so his mom comes, and this is our first introduction to his mom, who lives in Arizona, and she's kind of a new age. Um, Woman who is bright and sparkly and the total opposite of Packard in every single way imaginable. When Packard's mom arrived 10 days after the shooting, it was like a whole circus coming to town. She was bright-eyed and jewel-toned, and her cold weather clothing consisted of enormous knit hats and flappy mittens and a lot of tasseled blankets and serapes that went over her head or around her shoulders and smelled like essential oils. She reminded Packard of a desert mule loaded and ready to descend into a canyon. She got in late the first day. There was just time to get her situated at the hotel and take her grocery shopping to stock the small fridge in her room. On the second day, she came to his house and they took Frank for a long walk and played Scrabble. His mom cooked potato soup, a thin, milky recipe from Packard's childhood that he remembered sieving in search of the ground sausage she used to add to it. Now she was a vegetarian and the sausage had been replaced by kale. On the third night, after another whole day together, Packer decided he wanted to see people and he wanted to see life, so he took his mom to a brewery for a late dinner. The Hopfen had officially opened the week before Christmas and was gaining popularity with the locals and the out-of-town snowmobilers. Packard had held his election night party there. Wasn't much of a party. Kyle Hill, one of the co-owners, poured a sample of their piney IPA for Packard's mom. She sipped it, then tried not to make an unpleasant face in front of the guy who brewed it. "Well, that's interesting, but not for me," she said, smiling. Kyle took her glass and asked Packard if he wanted to sample anything. Packard had a list of things he wanted to sample on Kyle: a handful of his dark hair, the scratch of his 5 o'clock shadow, the texture of the scar on his upper lip. He thought maybe they'd had a moment at his party, but there hadn't been time to investigate since then on account of how badly he lost that night. Then it was the holidays. Then he'd read a letter that contained a map to the location where his missing brother's body was buried. Then he shot and killed a man. It had been a busy winter.